Hi, I'm Ash Coyote, and this is part 7 of my unofficial guide to successful gender transition. Today, we're going to be talking about passing and why it actually doesn't matter. As per the usual, let me preface this by saying I am not a doctor, psychologist, or therapist, and all information presented in these videos is merely meant to educate and help others on their journeys. Today's topic is a little controversial to some. It's the idea of passing. For those of you that don't know, passing is essentially the term used to describe blending in with the gender you identify as. I identify as female, so if I was approached by some random person on the street and they identified me as a gal, then I would have quote-unquote passed. Let me stop right there for a moment. See, the issue of passing for me is that I feel it puts far too much emphasis on how others see you, and the term itself implies deception on the part of the trans individual. Living in a manner that is congruent to your gender identity and being properly addressed is not deception. It's the furthest thing from it. It's affirmation of the person that you really are on the inside. Now to dive into the issue a bit further, I'm going to discuss some less tangible elements of transition. When I first started, I had more or less come to terms with the idea that I may never pass. Admittedly, it was a daunting task to find a feminine bone in my pre-transition body. 6 foot tall, 270 pounds, and muscular. Honestly, that's part of why I put it off for so long. It was coming from this point that I started to really develop the philosophy of doing this not to pass, but to be myself. Because at the end of the day, that is almost all that we really have. Passing to me seems a fruitless endeavor and one that lends itself to bending to others' projections of femininity rather than the very real and tangible elements of feminine nature within ourselves. That is to say, what the media and the world projects as feminine and what being feminine actually is are two completely separate things. Finding that part of me really gave me the strength to transition. And, interestingly enough, in my refusal to adhere to societal norms, my identity has wholeheartedly been validated every step of the way. Thank you so much for watching. Tune in next week for a special topics episode. And, as always, if you like what I do and want to see more, please click subscribe.